Hi everyone, we're back with another Talking GOP. I'm your host, George Santos, and today we're going to be talking about a very burdensome topic, which is petitioning. Yes, petitioning, that very annoying, difficult duty and task that you have to door knock and walk electoral districts, assembly districts. But wait, too much information? You don't know what I'm saying, what I'm talking about? Well, it was that same complacency that led to the Blue Puddle in 2018. Joined with me here is my co-host, Gabriel Montalvo.
Hi, how are you? Happy to be here again, gracing your screens once more.
Yeah, I know, like it's becoming a real thing. We're getting recognized in events locally, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. I autographed somebody's Constitution, pocket Constitution, which I was completely caught off guard with, and I thought was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
But you know, somebody wants my autograph, so yeah, I'll give it to them.
Yeah, people have been talking about the socks on this show, and I think that's what we should focus on. You know, socks.
You know what? Brand. Yeah, like I should like plug whoever I buy socks from, and they should be paying me because I'm always wearing some funky socks. So are you, and we have guests who've done it. So it's
now we know how to brand ourselves.
Yeah, we're the socks guys that talk about politics.
Pretty much. So you were talking about petitioning and how troublesome it is and how annoying it can be at times where cold, hot, gets dark quick sometimes.
Blisters on your feet.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Yep. So you running for Congress, how big is your district and how many people do you need to actually walk on for that?
So that's a great question. Like I feel like I'm on the hot seat, but I'll take it. All right, that's a great one.
Thank you.
My district is pretty large. It covers Nassau County, Suffolk County, and Queens County. It stretches along the north shore of Long Island, which is pretty insane. I mean, we're talking about people living in New York City, Queens, and then stretching all the way to Huntington, East Northport, and smidges of Smithtown, which, if I'm not completely entirely mistaken, there are some farmlands out there.
Oh, wow.
There are farmers in my district, not large commercial farms, but mom and pop farms, and
it's a huge landmass.
How do you take the same things that are happening out in Suffolk to what's going on in Queens and put them in one district, and how do you make it work? Door knocking, just to answer your question, I will door knock as many houses and as many people as possible. It is never enough. People have to meet the candidate. The more they see you, the chances are of you getting elected are bigger. And I learned this from one elector once, Gabriel. I spoke with a avid, staunch Republican once that said I was forced to vote for Hillary Clinton for senator because she knocked on my door to ask for my vote and shook my hand.
Wow. So it's that connection that people really seek, to be of the people.
Absolutely. They're looking for that connection. They don't want just their money. They don't want to be cash cows, and giving you votes. If you connect with them, it doesn't matter what party they're in. Obviously, maybe not in today's day. We're talking about Hillary Clinton's senatorial races back in the early 2000s. But, in today's day, I'm not so sure if that connection is appreciated. But you never know who you're going to run into. It's an independent or a swing voter Democrat, a more moderate Democrat, or a more volatile Republican, whichever way it goes, right? You just never know. But door knocking is very important. The required signatures that I should be petitioning are 1,250 is the bare minimum, and that's for congressional in general, right? However, it's always good to collect 2-3 times that amount just to be safe and make sure nobody made a mistake and you don't lose those signatures.
Yeah, on the petition sometimes people will fill in the wrong areas where they should print their name or sign it, or the date's wrong. So it's a lot you want to.
Those are all errors.
All human error. No one's perfect. I remember one time I went out actually petitioning for Mike Casali, who's running out in New Jersey. We did some door knocking with the Young Republicans here in New York. It was in beautiful Mahwah County, but it was scary at times because it was so foggy that day that you can only see about maybe 5 feet out in front of you, and it was very rural, not like here in the concrete jungle that is New York City. But you had interesting characters, but the beauty of it was that they felt like we've been saying that these candidates were actually connecting.
Of course.
And it was just as simple as saying, knock, 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 how are you? This person just wanted to say Merry Christmas. Something as simple as that.
That's awesome. I mean, look, petitioning season is now. I obviously, just answering to the question, I have not done door knocking yet.
Right.
As of February 25th,
yes.
sorry about that, petitions will be circulating. And they circulate until the 2nd or 3rd of April. I can double check on that. But, you know, go onto your BOE website and you'll have that information there. But, you know, we're, as candidates, we're circulating petitions.
Right.
And this is the only way to get Republicans on the ballot.
Yes.
So complacency has no room here. Look what happened to complacency, as I said in the open, in 2018. Oh, the Democrats are just going to take it. We didn't even try.
Yeah, it always seems like Republicans focus on solely the executive branch or the federal level elections. When it comes to the midterms, I'm sorry, but we didn't really come out in full force like we should have.
No, we didn't, and that's because of complacency.
Right.
I think we were comfortable that President Trump had been elected, but we didn't realize we needed to keep the House in order to keep functional.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we get AOC.
That's how we got AOC. Yep. Anyway, on this topic, so just to, I want to make this a little educational and call it boring. I'll take that because this is a little tedious. But let's remember, I encourage as many of you watching at home, whether it's here in Queens or out anywhere in the country, if you're watching this, I want you to remember, get involved with your local party. Go to your local GOP. Become a committeeman. Get involved. Carry petitions, get good candidates on the ballots. Here in Queens, we have an array of phenomenal candidates that were just screened and announced and endorsed by the county chairwoman and the executive committee. It is amazing. You were there.
Yes, I had the pleasure to sit on the nomination process.
Amazing.
Yes.
Like the amount of young, new blood candidates hungry to go out there and win is absolutely amazing. So we need to back them, get them on the ballot, help them with anything we can. Look, it's not all about money. It's a lot about volunteering and putting in your time. If you want to change your community, if you want to change the way the state's going, we have to get involved. It's just not going to be handed over to us. We have to make a change.
Right, I agree. It was a great I had the opportunity, like you said, to sit in on the nomination process, and it was a great way to see the types of questions that the committee will ask you to, prepare oneself in the event that they do, decide to run, and to see what's the proper way to do it. Like you said, go to your district leaders, ask them. If you go on the county committee, you'll be able to, speak with your chairman or chairwoman. And it's just so important because we cannot be, and we cannot stress this enough either, we can't be satisfied solely with having the President of the United States in office for 4 more years. We need to have a support system. This isn't a one level of government.
It's not a one-show pony.
Right, exactly. Thank you. Right. You
need a couple of ponies to make the show go on in this case. Yeah.
Yes.
Look, and also, you can always go on to the website for the county. It always helps because once you go on to the county website, whichever county you're in, just Google, Republican committee and put the name of your county next to it. So in this case, Queens.
Yeah.
Website comes up. On the website, you'll see your district leaders, which are your state leaders, right? Your assembly district state leaders. Yes. And they're the ones who will, be your leader as a committeeman. Because candidates rely on your help. And quite frankly, our livelihood relies on the goodwill of the people willing to get involved, sacrifice their time and commitment to making this a prosperous process. So we can go back to being the Empire State that we once were.
Yeah, well, speaking of the Empire State, and I think we mentioned this before, but the Empire State Building was actually lit up purple for when the state government here in New York allowed for 9-month abortions. We as Republicans
celebrated it.
They celebrated it. So we as Republicans know that late-term abortions, especially to that extent, or any abortions, are largely not, do not resonate well with this party. So remember, that happened, what, 2018, right? I think that passed.
That was the beginning of 2019. After the blue wave.
Well, so
it was the first course of action.
Right.
They celebrated it like it was a Super Bowl victory for whatever team they cheered for, because the Reproductive Rights Act ultimately. I don't know why it's called Reproductive Rights Act, because
Right.
it's just infanticide.
Exactly.
But long story short, it's an assault on pregnancies and unborn children, right? The way they go about it is absolutely evil. To use a word with real meaning, it is evil. You know, I understand there are circumstances and situations that abortion might be the best solution, but it can't be used loosely. There should be a process, and I strongly believe that we have to stop creating generalized bills, and that's a result of a one-party rule state. New York State is the state of the great Governor Pataki, the great Mayor Rudolph Giuliani. It's the great state of our president. 45th is from New York. How is this beautiful state, this massive state, going down the drain? And it's not only that.
Right.
I travel for work a lot. You know, I have the perks of TSA pre-check. I have the perks of global entry.
Yeah.
I have all those very convenient systems to declutter the masses. And obviously for me, it's a perk. I paid, I did the process, it's open to anybody, but it also helps decongestion TSA screening lines.
Yes.
I fly frequently, so why should I burden the system and gridlock it? So I go upon myself and save my time too, obviously, as a conscious person, and I pay a little bit of money, whatever, it's $180, $200, and I get my TSA pre-check, I have my global entry. Now, thanks to Andrew Cuomo for denying the federal government access to the DMV records, we are now barred from renewing our global entry, meaning we will now cooperate with the gridlock that is an airport like JFK or Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson. A lot of New Yorkers fly through there.
Yes.
We were barred because Andrew Cuomo thinks it is normal and okay to issue licenses to undocumented immigrants. I can't say the other word because I'll get a fine.
Yeah, you'll get a fine.
I can't even say the technical term because they'll fine me.
Well, yeah, actually, City Councilman Moya is trying to put together rules and regulations that public spaces and offices, you're not able to use the term undocumented immigrant or alien or whatnot. I mean, he's already pushed a fine for $250,000.
And we quote that.
Right, we quote it. Right.
Educational. We're reiterating the law.
Right, well, what he's trying to push through. Yep. And he's also, the $250,000 if you call ICE on an undocumented immigrant if it's found that you called for reasons of hate. Now, hate, of course, is subjective. It can be subjective.
This is like one of those laws. I'm not a lawyer, but it's like one of those laws that 10 attorneys read and interpret it completely different. Right. And you look at them all like, oh, wow, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right. So how do you categorize hate?
Right.
You know, is it hateful to be scared that there's an undocumented alien next to you hustling? There's a drug den next to you. That's not hate. That's safety. They're going to call it hate and prejudice because he's a minority, and you know.
Well, I am too. I mean, him and I actually we're both from Ecuador. Well, heritage from Ecuador. So, I mean, if he always wants to say something, you know, he could always. You're always welcome, Councilman Moya, to come on the show. Have a conversation and do this. It's an open invitation.
I did know that. Come on down, Councilman Moya. We would love to have you here. I mean, we would keep it cordial, but we would love to have you here. This is an open invitation. Matter of fact, Jessica Ramos, love to champion you here on this seat. I love to see you tell me why legalizing prostitution would be great for the state of New York. I'd love to know how Roosevelt Avenue in Jackson Heights would respond to that, because it's already there. Now, if you legalize it, you're going to be responsible, just like the great Senator Gianaris, for the what act? The Bail Reform Act. If you want to carry that badge, it's on you.
Yeah, well, they always claim that it's because they don't want to see. They feel like the law is racist, and because of disproportionate crime statistics. And now there are other councilmen, I think he's in Brooklyn, I can't remember his name, but he's now wanting to make the MTA fare free. Now, we have recently seen the J31 protests, and for those of you who don't know, the J31 protests were actually a group of thugs in masks, and they distorted their voices, saying that they are intentionally going to try and F up the system. screw the police. I'm, of course, substituting words here. They actually poured super glue into the turnstile machines. They
In Grand Central Station.
In Grand Central Station across. They did vandalism as well in different stations throughout. And they're openly supporting what I claim to be terrorism, because terrorism is a political message that you're achieving by any means necessary. And I mean, this is a little bit extreme, but if you see a video of ISIS making demands and you see these guys, you'll find a very close similarity between.
They're funded by the same people.
We can't say that here.
Oops. No money talks.
Right.
But money talks.
Right.
Right. I mean, look, free. Okay, let's put it this way. What's the subway fare right now? It's
$2.75.
$2.75,
yes.
right? And how much is it monthly?
$127.
Okay.
$127.
So it's already kind of expensive.
Yes.
In a sense, in general. I remember when it was $60. Actually, lies.
Wow.
I remember when it were tokens. You would put money into the machine. It would dispense a lot of tokens. It was kind of fun. Ding, 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 ding. So when they introduced the Metro card, I remember the monthly Metro card being $60 or so. And up until like 2009, it was like 75 or 80 bucks. And out of nowhere, it just hiked. It just like kept going up and up and up and up. And I understand the cost of everything goes higher, but ultimately, the general consensus here is, if we have subpar service now with expensive fares, can you imagine the service we would have at free fares? And mind you,
that's true.
Not even the socialist countries give you free public transportation. Wow. I mean, I've been to Iceland. I've been to the Scandinavia.
Well, the Nordic, they follow the Nordic system. It's a complete. It's not necessarily socialist. I mean, the Prime Minister, I think, of Denmark came out and said that they're not. Like Bernie Sanders is wrong saying that the Scandinavian countries are actually socialist. They just put a lot of money into healthcare, but don't really follow much of anything else. They just have higher taxation rates. But I wanted to ask you, because we were on the topic of the MTA, who would you blame more, the mayor or the governor? Because each one's pointing at the other.
The governor. It's his ultimate job is to keep the MTA together, right? So it's his fault. There's no question about it. I mean, look, de Blasio, is he a train wreck? Yes. I remember that image of him being handcuffed.
Was that a pun? The train wreck part?
Oh, yeah, something like that, right? Well, I didn't realize it, but remember that image of him being arrested and escorted in cuffs?
Yeah.
Could have that not been permanent, and could have they not just lost the key to that handcuff and sail gel he was held in? Like, seriously, who let him out? Like, he could not do anything right. The man calls snow days and it flurries. The man oversalts the streets and it rains. He doesn't salt it at all, and a nor'easter comes through. You just can't get it right with anything.
I mean, at least with Bloomberg, I knew what to expect. I was going to school that day, even if it was like 10 inches of snow.
And that is why he will never be president, because we all remember those no snow days.
We can vote now. We can voice our...
Yes. Bloomberg, remember, you never called a snow day for us, and we're all old enough to vote for you now.
Yeah, in the event that he actually makes it past any of this these hurdles against, Buttigieg and Sanders.
Let's jump on that topic real quick. I think we covered well local politics, and I think we got a real good sense of what it is. But let's talk about money and how money does not buy you an election.
Ah, right.
What was that? My favorite takeaway from the last debate in Nevada was the line said by Bloomberg, though.
Right.
Because, again, I at one point, admittedly, and I think a lot of us in the Republican Party, have to admit to ourselves, we voted for him, we campaigned for him, we supported him. He was a Republican mayor, and he was a great mayor the first 2 terms. Then he came back as an independent for the 3rd term.
Bought it.
Overreached his power, bought the 3rd term.
Banned us from drinking our sodas.
And he went on an assault on soda.
Right, and this is where I say it's not the government's business to tell you if, you're going to kill yourself with this amount. And this is slightly libertarian of me, but I'll stick with it. I still, it's this overreach in government. And he wants to socialize healthcare. Now, we've heard a lot of Democrats talk about this, and when the state controls your health rights, I guess we'll call that, you'll find that the state also decides whether or not you'll get it. I mean, there was a video of Bloomberg saying if you're 95 with cancer, we're not going to admit you into the hospital. It's your time to go.
Yeah.
If you're young, we'll keep you.
Yeah.
So that's just an unintended consequence. And I wouldn't even say unintended because he said it. So it's something that we should all keep in our heads.
So back to the debate.
Right.
My favorite line was reiterated by Bloomberg.
Right.
And it was, America's such a great country, and I quote, its most well-known socialist is a millionaire and owns 3 homes. And a close quote.
Right.
Bernie Sanders is America's most well-known socialist, and he's a millionaire.
Yeah, profits off of it.
I mean, talk is really cheap. I mean, walk the walk, my friend.
Yeah, a lot of these progressives won't walk the walk. I mean, you also have the Young Turks who had rejected their workers from unionizing, even though they claim themselves to be progressive.
But then they went after David El Presidente from Barstools for saying that the hell with unions over here.
Right, and they would go with to Bernie and say, unions are great. You have to, uphold them. They were backing Bernie all the way, but they can't do it themselves.
The same people who criticized Dave, what's his last name? Pepperoni? He does pizza reviews. I don't care. I mean, it might as well be pepperoni. I know him as El Presidente, right?
Oh, okay.
I love him. I mean, one bite, everybody knows the rules. Like, who doesn't know that? Like, that's awesome. So he was criticized heavily on Twitter, Young Turks, for not wanting unions at bar stools. And yet, the same people who criticize them, they do the same thing. That's Young Turks.
Yeah, well, you might see Cenk Uygur in Congress. He's running out there in Cali.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so be prepared for that.
Oh boy, I have a couple of friends running for Congress this cycle in California. Please don't let it happen. It just can't happen. This is just like, oh, I'm gonna run off set and go home and cry now because you're reminding me of these things.
I mean, no worries. Let's all pray for this, but you might even run into the squad. And that will certainly be interesting. But I wanted to also ask you, putting you again on the hot seat, how is your relationship with the young Republicans out there? How do you think the support of young Republicans, will help you with petitioning and door knocking and whatnot, getting the word out and essentially the vote out? How do you think they will? How essential are they for you? In your campaign?
Our producer Mike and Gabriel are totally coming after me for an interview at this point. You should just send me an invitation and say, can we interview you one of these days? But that's okay, I'll answer that one too.
Sure.
So pretty much, I'm very excited in my district. The YRs, so I'm not sure if you're aware of, I mean, you're aware for sure because I told you, but for everybody at home, I just was officially endorsed by all 3 counties. So I am the official nominated candidate, Republican candidate, for New York's 3rd Congressional District by Nassau, Suffolk, and Queens, and let's not forget the town of Huntington as well, within Suffolk. All 4 chairs got together and agreed that I was the guy. The moment that magical moment happened this past week, wow, the outpour of support has been overwhelming, and I am flattered with all the support that's coming in. I sat down with the Nassau YRs the other evening, and I gave them all my cards, kind of talked a little bit about me, the race. I've gotten text messages and calls from almost all of them wanting to volunteer. Driving here today, on the car, boom, text message. A gentleman by the name of Paolo saying, oh, I really want to help, I really liked you. So I'm so excited to see that I'm a YR with YR backing. Good. You know, the YRs in Huntington have been nothing but supportive. The Suffolk YR is very supportive. The New York City Young Republicans have been supportive. You know, I love the support that's coming in. But right now, after the actual endorsement, I'm getting commitments to the campaign from Nassau, Suffolk, and Huntington. And Queens too. So I'm very happy that that's happening. You know, the last 3 days have been completely insane, and I think that these guys are going to kill it because we have the energy, we have the willpower, we know what it's like to be 20, 30 and making, you know, $70,000 a year and struggling to pay our taxes in this state. That's absolutely expensive.
Right.
So I am very looking forward to be the voice of my generation and having their support. That's just, it humbles one, you know, to see
Definitely.
that. It's humbling.
And would you also want to give, I would almost call him your prodigy, a shout out?
Was that a pun? So I don't know if you guys remember Aiden Rowan. He was on the show.
Yes.
2 shows ago, maybe? I don't remember.
Yes, 2 shows ago.
2 shows ago?
Yeah.
He is a very good friend. I adore the kid. The kid's 18. He's such a bright mind, and he's years beyond his time. And he just announced for a state Senate race in Rockland County. And forgive me, Aiden, I don't remember the district. Like, I have so much going in my head, but we will definitely be having him back.
Yes.
And we're going to be having a whole lot of candidates back to talk. I mean, look, nominated just this past week, we have John Cummings for AOC seat. Mm-hmm. We have Tom Mitch for Grace Mang. We have myself for Tom Swazi. We have Andrew Garbarino to keep Pete King's seat red. We have Lee Zeldin, obviously. Lee Zeldin kept his nomination for his seat in New York 1, and Claudia Tenney kept her was nominated. Shel Farley, Nicole Maliatakis. We have so many candidates out there, and we're ready. We have a whole new generation of great leaders to take over Washington and actually make a change. I'm speechless. I mean, it's.
Well, I mean, part of the purpose of this show is to make sure that we, turn Queens red, and then once this is uploaded on social media, we'll turn, hopefully, people across the city and the state red.
Yes, and I just want to throw one thing in there. Personal message, personal belief. I don't know if you agree. We can agree to disagree on on some things. We don't have to agree on everything. But this is a personal one, and this isn't coming from anyone or the show or anything. This is me. I'm going to go on a tangent and say, I strongly would like to encourage people, if you did not get the endorsement, don't weaponize yourself and go primary the person who did. Join forces. Embrace one another. Go forward as a unit. Show unity, because we cannot afford to be divided and be primarying each other. The reason I say this is we're the minority party in this state. If we can't unite with one another and back the candidates that the decision makers chose, we're going to hurt each other further. I think we should all not engage in primaries, at least not in this state. I think we should embrace the decisions of the party and move forward. I support every single candidate that was endorsed. I would love to work together as a candidate. I will not be supporting any insurgency or any primary opponent. It is not a personal belief. It is not a personal offense towards the candidate. It's just how I think that we're so depleted in numbers here. Mm-hmm. We just got to keep our ranks tight. And that's my heartfelt opinion. I might have been a rebel at one point in my life and thought differently. I see why now we need unity.
I can agree, and I do believe that once the dust settles and whoever wins the primary gets on the ballot, and whether they were endorsed or not, I personally think that it can bring more attention, and so long as the race isn't run as a slander campaign.
Unfortunately, all primaries have engaged in slander attacks as of now. From what I'm seeing on media and social media, it's been very slanderous. And I've been very vocal about saying, look, if you're going to run a primary, at least don't make it slanderous. Right. Remember, save that for the Democrats.
Right.
Save all that angst.
I mean, we've always said that Republicans are the best at fighting themselves, and I say that I agree. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah. I just that's a message. Wanted to make sure it was put here. Also, I want to break some news to you.
Sure.
You don't know this realistically, and I want to break the news to everybody at home. For the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be engaging in a very, very, very tedious process, which is petitioning
right,
and door knocking. And unfortunately, I will not be gracing your screens until that process is done and finished with. And Gabriel here will be taking the stand all by himself for the weeks to come. And I'm sure you're going to turn out awesome content, awesome guests. I mean, I am so sorry.
No worries, it's fine.
You know, it's just I have to focus on the campaign as of now. It is my priority. So once the dust settles and the petitioning season's over, I secure the ballot position, you'll see me back. So coming up next, I just want to, I'll let you do this introduction.
Sure.
Warm up. Go on.
So this is going to be my time. Coming up next, we have a very dear friend of ours. His name is Fernando Acosta, and he is leading the charge with the Black Conservative Federation here in New York State. We'll come up and talk about his story and what he's doing. So stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Here with me, I have Fernando Acosta, and we're going to talk about the Black Conservative Federation that he is heading, as we said, as the New York State Director. And we're also going to get into his time working with the New York Young Republicans out in the city. So on behalf of Talking GOP and my host sitting next to me, George Santos, I would like to introduce Fernando Acosta. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
Fernando.
Yeah, that's the name.
Is it Fernando or Fernando?
Whatever Hispanic terminology you want to put into it.
Welcome on the show. Thanks
you.
for joining us.
Thank
It's
you,
always
thank
a
you.
pleasure to see you. You're like the happiest Republican I've ever met. Like,
That's a bold statement.
you are though, because you're always so warming,
Positive.
and welcome and positive. And I have never heard, and I mean this. We've spoken a great deal about you. Trust
I
me.
mean, it's a good investment.
From the day we first met him, remember?
Yes.
It's like you're like this all-around good guy. Everybody likes you. You're fun. You can turn out dance moves. I've seen that on Instagram and on Facebook. You're a conservative.
Yeah.
You're like the how can I say this? But the epitome of an example that minority, whatever you want to label yourself, those labels do us no service. You're such a great guy. So tell us a little bit more about you, your organization,
Your story.
How did you become a Republican? That's actually what's like pressing in my mind. I've never asked. So let's share with
So
everyone
why
at
not do
home.
it in a TV studio?
Yeah, right now.
Okay, forget the bar. Just come to the TV studio. Okay, I like that.
We can do the bar afterwards when I make fun of it.
Oh, of course. Fair
And we
enough.
dissect it.
Right.
Fair enough. So yeah, what can I say? I would say my whole Republican journey started probably in high school, 2006, yeah. So around there, I started reading about the Constitution, reading Ron Paul.
Yeah, nice.
Once Ron Paul came about, I was like, yo, this old man's speaking truth. However, he was a libertarian. And I was a registered libertarian.
You were?
Yeah, fun fact for my libertarian friends out there, I was a libertarian. Everything else came to bits. We saw 2008 and how powerful the Barack Obama election was. However, I didn't vote for him.
Then what was powerful about it?
It was powerful enough that he got everyone else fooled. That's it's powerful.
That's a fair statement.
Is it a fair statement to say in the black community that he was the biggest traitor for the black community?
Wow.
Because I've heard it.
Right.
I can't say it. Neither can you. But I can ask Fernando, and maybe you can give me and reiterate a little bit more. You're Latino, though.
No, I'm Afro-Latino if we want to get into labels here. But
I call you Latino.
Latino, está bien.
Well, be careful.
Está bien, está bien.
Because he was on Vice and they want to push that Latinx stuff on us. So.
Oh, well, it's fine. We'll be fine.
Right.
We'll be fine. That's why we're here. But yeah, look, Barack Obama, I will say this on the record, amazing personality.
Great speaker, right?
Great speaker.
Love it.
Got the style. Look, I actually like the tan suit.
Well, the whole suit
remember
gang
that
thing
time?
that happened?
All the Republicans, why he's wearing a tan
freaked out.
suit? No, I actually liked it. It looked good. I mean, he's also a black guy because, let's say, come on, Mitch McConnell can't rock that. That's for sure.
No, he'll look naked.
Yeah, literally. So, yeah, I would say, dude, he had a voice. He had a personality. The policy didn't follow through.
Do you see a lot of the voice, the personality, the posture in Pete Buttigieg, or is it just me?
No, I see nothing in him. I see nothing.
Okay. I don't know why the other day.
He's very readable compared to.
Very readable.
Like you can read everything on his face.
Yep.
It's right there. I mean, if we go by his just mayor records, period. This is the mayor records. Guys, look it up. Look it up.
It's bad.
It's bad, especially when it comes to minorities. They're still questioning about the firing of the whole police department out there.
Wow.
Once he became mayor, he started firing all these police chiefs of African descent.
Wow.
So no one talks about that, but I'll say it here.
South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah.
Racism. Really, Indiana?
It's surprising, I know.
Democrats being racist in Indiana? Oh no.
Oh no, never.
anywhere.
No,
that matter.
Oh no, never.
No, please,
They got
God, no.
outshot
The
them
party
all.
of the KKK racists?
Oh,
So it's hilarious when
He cut me off. You see, he didn't like where the conversation was going.
you mentioned the 3 Ks.
Yeah. You see, he didn't like where the conversation was going. Go ahead, I'll give you that. It was going. I didn't know where I was going to take it to the next level
Yeah, I was
to
like,
make it entertaining.
Yeah, we're
so
gonna.
you're
This is what we call a segue. So it was interesting in I think the second to last debate that we've recently seen.
Yeah.
He didn't even want to answer the question that the moderator asked him about the black incarceration rate.
Yeah.
You can see, like you said, his face
can
is so
read it.
readable. You couldn't see it on his. You could see it on his face. Like this was the one damning thing that no one should have brought up for him.
Yeah.
And
But he had enough energy to damn Amy, though. I have to say that. You know that. I mean, Amy got really upset about that, calling out on his record, saying how Amy actually supported some of Trump's appointees. She went furious, but look, she's getting nowhere. She's not going nowhere.
Is it a bad thing to be reasonable and rational? I saw nothing wrong with her supporting appointees.
and I could see why she's having that little surge. I mean, don't get me wrong, she campaigned her butt off out in Iowa and campaigned her butt off in New Hampshire, and you see it clearly.
And she had that little 2 minutes of fame during that.
Of course.
That debate
And her
where she
cheesy-
really shined. Yeah, she said, "I'm not a millionaire. I'm one of you.
Yeah.
I'm the only one on the stage at that is not a millionaire,"
Yeah.
which is true.
And she
She's
has
claiming to be
she has a
Trump's-
powerful presence, though. I mean, the Midwest. This is like these are voters that will literally. The reason why they voted for Trump is because they didn't see the policies following through the Democrats.
Right.
So they see one of their representatives there running for president. What do they have to lose?
Yeah. Well, now she's claiming that she's Trump's biggest threat.
Well, I mean, did you hear about her infamous tweet about comparing Trump's hair and a blizzard? That's like literally her favorite line to mention in every interview she's ever been.
Well, I wanted to ask you. So we kind of like reel it all back in.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. This is your last day for a little bit. It's okay. Just let us.
Is this really her favorite line?
Seriously, she's on the record.
Oh, wow.
She used it in Bill Maher. She used it in MSNBC, CNN, and I'm like, wow, sis, you really love your hair.
It's amazing. Yeah, no, I mean, girl, go for it. I mean, look, Amy is if we're going to call someone in this race a moderate, it sure as hell ain't Joe Biden.
We thought it was Tulsi Gabbard. We
So-
haven't seen her grace the stage for how long?
Tulsi Gabbard ended up actually being the moderate, and she's gone. She hasn't dropped out, but they will not give her the time of day.
Oh,
So I
she's
guess it's
blacklisted.
Amy. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's been blacklisted since she endorsed Bernie Sanders. In 2016. Yeah,
I'm well aware.
yeah.
But I do have to say, she's a very attractive woman with her.
She,
She got a G Gray look here,
she's great. Look,
We
thank
all
you
have
for
to be
your-
men in here.
Thank you for your service, Congressman Gabbard.
But yeah, Tulsi Gabbard. But you have to be
yeah.
aware too. I mean, she is a very intelligent woman. She was actually considered as a defense position when Trump was elected. He actually interviewed her for a defense position.
And that would have been a great bipartisan
It
reach.
would have, but I just don't understand this. She is, I believe her rank currently is major, and and if I'm not mistaken, also the head of her job in the military is military intelligence. She wants to get back into the Iran deal, where they were taking billions of dollars anyways to build the nuclear weapons we were paying them to not build. So I don't get it.
Look, we're giving Tulsi Gabbard way too much of a platform.
Yeah, too much time.
CNN doesn't give her this
Look,
much.
all I'm
Why are
saying-
we giving her this much?
You want to invite her onto the show too?
No, thank you.
No, we're good. She's just good looking. That's it.
Yeah. So let's talk
Yeah.
about your organization and what you
course.
guys are doing. Kind of brief us. What's the A, what it's about, B, what's the mission, and what's the end goal?
Well, the Black Conservative Federation is started off in D.C. Our founder, Deontay Johnson, is from Chicago. And, passionate individual, wanted to reach out to other passionate individuals to really set forth that, we're in a very unique moment in time. We have a president that's actually investing his time. He's investing his agenda when it comes to people of color. And what the Black Conservative Federation is, our goal is to, give that platform to all those and to not be afraid. I know other media, other people, reporters, whatever, wants to demean us because, we're speaking out. The Black Conservative Federation wants to be the microphone for you guys. You want to run for city council? Do it. You want to run for state senator? Do it. You have nothing to be afraid for. You're an American citizen. You have every right. And by the grace of our president now, Donald J. Trump, he has put us in a platform that will possibly affect the Democratic Party till the end of times, and has given the best marketing to the GOP that it has ever had, probably since Ronald Reagan's first election tour.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Wow. Very, very true. I agree.
I know, I read sometimes.
Are you trying to break the stigma?
Trying to break that stigma, Sorry, I don't have a 4th grade reading level.
You know what?
And you know
me.
where your DMV is.
It's a disaster, though.
So now with the BCF, Black Conservative Federation, now you had mentioned on your story that you were a libertarian. What made you switch?
What made me switch, honestly, I was very disappointed the way the libertarian platform was given within the years. Like you see 08, I thought Gary Johnson was fine, honestly.
Even with his "What's Aleppo" comment?
Oh, that was just the thing that shot down.
But that's the problem. Once 2016 happened, I saw him and he did that "What's Aleppo" thing. And people will say Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were possibly the 2 worst candidates to ever run.
He was the worst candidate to ever run, in my opinion.
But then I see Gary Johnson, he didn't take advantage. So here I am, a libertarian that believes in free market opportunity.
Right.
My mans, why are you not taking advantage of this? You could have been doing platform, you should have been doing YouTube shows, and then what we remember him by? What's
Aleppo? Yeah.
Right.
And What's Aleppo really resonated because that same week were those pictures of children faced down on the beaches. Not beaches, I'm sorry, on the sand, excuse me, sorry. On sand, and it was probably the most horrible thing in my adult life that I have seen done to children. I mean, those images are engraved. I mean, I get goosebumps saying about it. I get teary-eyed because it was, and for him to be
so clueless.
Not clueless, but he's seeking the highest office in our land, the leader of the free world, and you don't have the respect or the slightest clue to what's going on
or
in
even the
Syria.
proper response.
Exactly.
To say, where's Aleppo?
Look,
that's like saying, where's Carmen Sandiego?
It wasn't where, it was what is Aleppo.
What is, not even where.
If it was where is Aleppo,
maybe, yeah.
Okay, what is Aleppo? That completely blew my mind.
So,
look, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Recently, I was caught off guard during the campaign, and I was asked what my opinion on LIPA was. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the situation. Brief me. And I was briefed. It's a dispute between the town of Huntington and the electric managing company there, LIPA. And, my answer to them was, I'll look into it and I'll defer an answer to it later. I don't want to talk on something I'm not briefed on.
Yeah.
Totally fine. But I'm not seeking to be president of the United States.
Not yet.
Not yet, right? I like that.
Call me.
To that.
Call me. All right, you want to win? Call me.
There you go.
Right. So now you've mentioned.
Yeah. So I mentioned. Yeah. I saw that from Gary Johnson, and I'm like, this dude's out of his damn mind. What the hell's wrong with him?
Yeah, as Trump would say, low energy.
No, it would be beyond low energy. But here I am. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I've always liked Donald Trump. Yo, bro, love Art of the Deal. Look, no joke. It's like one of those books out there. I wrote a thesis on my college years about Donald Trump. Like, I respect the guy.
I went to economics. I went to school for economics and finance. And growing up,
You made fun of him?
No, I never made fun of him. I'm a Donald Trump fan
Yeah, man.
since the day I laid eyes on Trump Tower and realized it was a man named Trump that put a name on his own building.
Yeah.
That's genius. I want to be like Donald Trump.
And George Lopez even made fun of that, saying, man, you put your name up in buildings, you're like a Latino ourselves because we love wearing necklaces with our names. It's true. It's very true. No, but that's the thing. I just really admired the way he look, he got the small $1 million. It determines how you use the money.
Yes.
He got bankrupt 6 times, but look at him. Look at his stature now. That's a man that knows the code. That's the man that knows how to work money.
And I will to his defense here say, because I understand very well finances and how to manage money. I do it for a living.
You're fair.
$1 million is not a small loan, but it's also not a life-changing loan.
Exactly.
That's number one.
Especially with the business he's in.
Especially in the city of New York.
Correct.
Okay, we'll start by that. Number two, leveraging $1 million is not easy.
Exactly.
Okay, and keeping it is not easy. Number three, Donald J. Trump never bankrupted as an individual. He has bankrupted projects and companies he owned that were failing.
Exactly.
So,
that should be a life lesson too. I mean,
absolutely.
Once you're failing in life,
but
you learn from it. You adapt.
Many CEOs, which I will not mention names, have bankrupted their firms out there. Toys R Us, and I'm not pointing out names, Toys R Us, as we knew it, bankrupted 7 times before it really shut down, and now it's back. So why is nobody looking at the CEO and the chairs and the executive committee in Toys R Us and saying, you bankrupted, you failed? Because it's normal. Unfortunately, people have businesses, multiple businesses like Donald Trump with a very diversified portfolio, and they bankrupt. So what? He's still successful in 30 other things. And get over it.
But that's the thing people should acknowledge. Like, whoa, guy was bankrupt 6 times, but look at him now. He's still worth $1 billion.
People focus way too much on the negatives and forget and refuse to look at the positives in life. And I refuse to associate myself with people like that.
No, and that's how you have to cut people off. I have no time for people that think negative. Like
absolutely.
So
that's why you're so positive.
Oh, yeah, touche. But yeah, you see Donald Trump, he's doing his thing. And look, once he announced, I was like, bro, I can't believe he actually is doing this. Because, he did a exploratory committee back in 2000 with my boy Roger Stone. Yes, I'm a Roger Stone guy.
Pardon Roger Stone.
I don't believe in pardoning because he did lie under oath. So he did commit a crime, and for a pardon to be used loosely, I'm opposed to it. I just think that the sentence given now was proper, 40 months. I believe, look, I'm a Republican.
Right.
I like Stone.
Right.
You don't get to lie under oath and get away with it. Only Clinton can do that. And the law doesn't apply to the Clintons, clearly.
See that.
But I don't think we should pat him on the shoulder because I think it would look very bad for the president.
Absolutely.
It would look like he's using his power in office to benefit his friends. I mean, and I think that 40 months is a fair sentence. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't do anything wrong.
Well, apparently they was trying to get him on the record about killing someone's dog. That was funny.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the big word, the no-no word, Clinton. Be careful. That.
Oh my God, we're on TV.
That portrait of herself isn't going to hang itself.
Oh my God, yeah, Jesus. Oops.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me continue on.
Yes.
So yeah, he did that famous escalator scene. He announced, I was like, wow, Donald Trump is actually running. This is actually credible. However, I'm a libertarian, so I'm going to stick through it.
Oh,
and then the way he kept building, this guy had like 16 other people he was running against. And he took them down week by week by week.
By debate. Every other debate, it was one less guy.
I was watching another season of The Apprentice.
Yes.
It was so well done.
This is like reality television.
And this is what made him more even genius. He didn't spend that much money on marketing. He used the media for his advantage.
He's a brand whore. And I say it, he's so good at branding.
The man is a marketing genius.
He's a branding whore when I say it. I mean it. He's so good. The whole family. I was at Mar-a-Lago 2 weeks ago. I mean, from the bottle of water to the engraved silverware to the paper napkins to, everything has Trump on it.
Yeah.
And it's the consistency and the level of consistency you just don't get out there.
And I love it. You know why? Because you keep reminding yourself of your success.
Yes. It's amazing. I'm a true fan. And everybody in America should aspire to look at the success that this man.
Well, I mean, there's rap songs, there's hip hop songs.
Mac Miller song?
There's a Mac Miller song, may he rest in peace. And he was all there. He was everywhere. He was known as the most terrible man in New York City.
And
he helped build an ice skating rink in freaking Central Park. He went head to head with Dinka to revitalize, to renew New York City.
Right.
So when I see him running and won the nomination, I was like, dude, I'm full throttle.
So you had mentioned your libertarian tendencies, how you were sticking through it. You didn't find any appeal in Paul Jr., not Ron Paul, Rand Paul?
I love Rand Paul. He was my first choice.
Really?
Yeah, and then,
Okay.
you know, but Trump was there, but I thought to myself, man, I don't know, because media people don't make it that far. They don't. They just don't. But then the debate performance was there, and then he knocked out Rand Paul. And look, I'm an alpha guy. You knock someone
Little
down.
hands, Rand.
No, look, there was a lot of feature matters in this case. That's what he said.
funny.
And once I saw that, man, I was like, bro, one bro to another bro. You got my respect.
Right. And Cruz?
Cruz, I mean, Ted Cruz, look, I admire him. I admire his upbringing. I felt like, you know, once Trump gets into your head and you let him feed off of it, you let him feed off to it.
Yep.
And he changed his whole campaign, just like how Marco Rubio as well.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
Who was your first choice before Trump entered the race?
Yeah,
Because he entered not late, but it was already a crowded.
it was already established.
Yeah. What was your choice?
Oh, here we go.
Just be honest. Just say it. Live.
When I was young, high school, like 16 years old, it was Bernie Sanders before I made the switch.
What was your choice? I regret asking this.
Listen,
That's a horrible
I have my
decision.
one.
That was a very bad question to ask.
The worst investment you've done so far.
Yes, I did not realize that answer would come out. I'm sorry,
Listen,
guys.
I have my walkaway story.
That's true. Yeah. What's your?
Thank God you walked away.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Amen. Yeah. What was your first?
No, my first choice was Rand Paul, and you know, I liked Marco Rubio, I liked Ted Cruz, they were cool. But you know, Trump came about and he gave that honesty that was necessary in politics.
Right.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
The first guy I backed right off the gate was Chris Christie, and he was the first one Trump sent backing. So you know.
And he makes this conspiracy theory that if it wasn't for Trump, he'll be the one in the office now.
He's absolutely delusional,
Yeah,
and I
he's
love
on
Christie.
record. Yeah, he really wrote that on his book.
I absolutely adore Chris Christie. He was a good governor for New Jersey, but he would not be the president. And I don't. And for that fact, I think we would have Hillary as the president of the United States if it wasn't for Trump.
But I will go back to your question. And my first Republican choice, once I converted, I wasn't able to vote at the time, so I
keep forgetting how young you are.
Yeah, so I was like 16, 17.
So you did those paper ballots in high school
No.
to show democracy?
No, I just like got threatened in high school once I came out as a Republican, and then
of course.
Yeah, social media and physically. So my first choice was actually Cruz and Rubio, somewhat equally. I didn't care for Bush. I don't think many people care for Jeb Bush.
No.
No, man, low energy.
Right. Please clap. So, there we go. Thank you. And then once it became Trump and Hillary, I said, let me actually do my research. And I just stood, I love what the man had to say, like you were saying. And, you know, to even circle back to the pardon, I think that it would be good for the president if he pardons Dinesh D'Souza. I think that...
Why?
Because Dinesh has actually done, you know, he didn't necessarily break any laws because it wasn't corruption because he wasn't asking for any money in return. He just donated on accident a couple of $1,000s more than he should have. And it was...
I don't believe you give money to charity or to a candidate or to anything over the limit by mistake.
Okay.
I manage money, and and it's hard for me to believe that somebody can be that loose and out of control with thetheir own finances.
I see.
Right, but if that's the case,
I'm
then
not
we
saying
should
I
look
don't like Dinesh D'Souza. I'm just saying that.
Oh, come on, Hillary America, bro.
That was a great documentary.
Top 5, bro.
Top 5, definitely.
Great documentary.
And,
don't get me wrong.
he explains what happens to him. But I mean, but we look at people like Mike Bloomberg. What do we see? We see that he's giving millions of dollars to these people. I think it was in the 2018 election. He was donating millions of dollars to these people.
Well, he wasn't donating to people. He was donating to super PACs, which sadly it's a loophole.
Loophole.
It is a loophole. What are we gonna do? You know, we have to accept whenever somebody's breaking the law and when somebody's taking advantage of what's already there.
Yep.
And it's a loophole. And Bloomberg's really good at fighting. You don't amass $70 billion by being not so smart.
Oh no, the guy's he's smart. Come on.
He's genius. The guy is a genius.
Look, honestly, I hope he does win the Democratic nomination.
So we can lose.
So he can lose horribly.
There we go.
But I could also market it as Battle of the Billionaires.
Battle of the yeah, it's good marketing. You see, we're talking about marketing.
See, you know.
Yeah, I like that marketing. Yeah,
Battle of the Billionaires. Awesome. I'll be selling T-shirts. So BCF or follow me at Fernando Acosta on Twitter. Right?
You can't sell anything here, though.
Yeah, well, okay.
Anyway, plug yourself on social media. Where are you? Where can people find you to follow up?
Oh, absolutely. So definitely hit me up, Fernando Acosta, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
And you have a podcast on those platforms.
Well, you know, it's just videos talking my opinions. I feel like there's not a lot of voice of a person like me and my type of background.
Cool.
So, you know, it's just giving out the good word. You know, that's what I do. I love doing outreach.
That's awesome, yeah.
I like making sure that we get our voices out there. I think, again, Donald Trump said it best, what do we have to lose? And I tell myself, what do I have to lose, being a proud Republican?
Yeah, and we should be proud. And look, we're running low on time.
No, it's fine.
You've been very, very fun to have.
I mean, it was a good investment on TV.
This is great. Yeah, I love it. Thank you for coming. We'll have you more times. And go ahead.
Oh, yeah, because you're going to be taken out. I was going to do the outro.
I was actually just going to say bye for the last time within the next few weeks.
No Mr. Rogers status? No, like, dreadful long speech?
No, I kept it quick. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for being here. Fernando, Gabriel, take it on. Get used to it.
Yeah, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of Talking GOP. Follow us on Facebook at Talking GOP and on Instagram. Have a great day, America.